Have you ever wished you could stay 25 forever? Always young, always healthy, able to work, go out, party all night without worrying about getting older, getting sick, or watching your body slowly weaken. Sounds pretty great. But what if that actually became reality? Not just for you, but for everyone on Earth. What if all of us simply stopped aging at 25? You wouldn't exactly be immortal. You just wouldn't grow older or get sick. So what would a world like that actually look like? Let's find out with What If Explained TV. At first, it sounds almost perfect, but the first major problem would be jobs. People would keep being born, while workers already in the system could stay there for centuries, and everyone would still need an income. Imagine starting your career at 25. Your manager has already held that position for 80 years. The coworker sitting next to you has been doing the same job for 50. They're perfectly healthy, they still need an income, and they have very little reason to leave. Retirement might almost disappear too. If your body is still 25, there isn't much reason to stop working simply because you turned 65. You might think talent and hard work would still help you move up quickly. But now you're competing with people who have decades of experience, connections, and influence. It would be a little like putting a 5-year-old in a trivia contest against an adult. That could make climbing the career ladder much tougher. Experience wouldn't be the only advantage older generations had. There would also be wealth. Someone who bought a house, land, or stocks at 30 might continue owning those assets for hundreds of years. Over time, more wealth could remain in the hands of the people who got there first. Someone born much later wouldn't just enter the job market behind everyone else. They would also enter a world where much of the most valuable property had already been owned for generations. That gap could be extremely hard to close. Eventually, we would run into a limit that money alone couldn't completely solve: the Earth itself. Technology could help us grow more food, use water more efficiently, and fit more people into our cities. But it couldn't remove the limits entirely. Land, water, energy, and raw materials would still be finite. At some point, people wouldn't just be competing for jobs or houses, they might be competing for the basic things they need to survive. For people at the bottom of the economic ladder, that could mean stealing food, siphoning fuel, squatting in vacant buildings, or turning to black markets for basic supplies. Not necessarily because people suddenly became worse. But when basic necessities become scarce, some people may be willing to cross legal lines just to survive. When that same struggle moves from individuals to entire countries, the stakes become much bigger. Now, the thing being fought over might be a water supply, farmland, or a major source of energy. From there, a dangerous cycle could begin. The population grows, resources come under pressure, competition rises, a major conflict breaks out, reducing the population and temporarily easing some of that pressure. But it doesn't solve the underlying problem. The survivors don't age. More children are born. The population starts rising again. Eventually, the risk of another major conflict returns. All of this would also affect one of the most personal decisions people make: starting a family. If your body stays 25 forever, there's no longer the same biological reason to hurry. You could wait 50 years, maybe even 100. But the bigger question might no longer be when you want kids. It might be whether you can afford them at all. If stable jobs, housing, and basic necessities become harder to secure, raising a child might simply be beyond what many people could afford. Meanwhile, people who already have wealth, property, and secure positions would have far more freedom to make that choice. So even the decision to have children could gradually become divided along economic lines. So, what do you think? If everyone in the world stopped aging at 25, would it still seem like such a great idea? Or could something that sounds like a dream for one person become a much bigger problem when it happens to everyone? Let us know in the comments. And if there's another what if question you'd like us to explore, leave that below too. It might just become our next video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.